All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, brothers and sisters. The name of this channel is The African Times, and I'm Thomas. All right, look, we're going to jump right in. This will be a short video. Just haven't you noticed it's Olympic time? It's Olympic time. And in the fashion of good American spirit, we have our celebrities who are standing up, supporting, and showing their face on behalf of America in the Olympics. And the two celebrities I'm talking about here are Snoop Dogg and America's sweetheart, Beyonce. You're a sweetheart. Now, you know Beyonce and probably Snoop at this point, they're probably famous for a history of work, years back doing things, and now they are standing up in support of the Olympics. And as you know, Beyonce was famous for her Super Bowl appearance, another world world kind of the whole world looking at this event, and now the Olympics, the whole world looking at it, and she's there showing up for America. And Snoop Dogg, which probably could be surprising, but not really if you look at Snoop Dogg as of lately. Uh, his I've seen his coming together, doing some cooking with the lady Martha. I think her name is Martha Stewart. Snoop, I think, at some point made some appearances on that show. Another All American show. And so here they are. Now, why am I talking about this with respect to the Olympics? And many people say, well, you bashing black people. You're a brother. Why are you coming on these people? No, I'm not coming on the people at all. What I'm actually trying to do, and I hope that I'm successful in doing it, is to bring some attention to some things that, contrary to me bashing the people, actually are hurting our people in a variety of ways on a psychological level. Psychological violence, as I've talked to you about before. So let's take a look at it. See here, there's an image of Snoop. He was carrying the torch. Carrying the torch. The torch for America. Remember the lady standing up in New York? I think it's New York where she's holding the flame of freedom. You remember that? Have any of you been there to see that? I've seen it. So, good old Snoop. Hmm. I mean, from when I saw it, I was surprised. I saw him running. I think this particular clip I saw, he was running, and he had it was for 200 meters, maybe 200 meters, and he was running, but he was dressed in red, white, and blue and stripes. Yeah, yeah. Now I just did a video not too long ago. I was totally surprised. I didn't know, because I don't claim to know everything, but I was totally surprised to find that the Star Spangled Banner is filled with language, lyrics that talk about the conquering of people, the destruction of people. Now, I already knew to some extent the part that we all sing. Bombs bursting in air and praising that, praising the violence. Uh, but maybe he doesn't know about that. So it caused me to take a look into kind of his history of music. I know very little about him, so I don't claim to be a Snoop expert. It's just alarming to me from what I do know. Back in that time period, that was when I was young and I was listening to music. Snoop, Snoop Dogg, yeah. It was alarming to me because back then there was a transition in musical entertainment that saw uh, black men, black men go from taking pride in their appearance, uh, taking pride in the things that they talked about, the things that they sung about, and their relationship with women. Uh, talking about praising black women and how wonderful black women were, and how to love a black woman and how romantic it could be to have a woman and then take her and make her, your wife, and have a family with her. Those things in the black community with the black entertainers, particularly the men singing about their women, it was great. It was praised. It was wonderful. And the thing was, how well could you do it in such a way that, man, inspired a man to go get him a beautiful woman. Ooh, inspired a woman to go get with a handsome brother. And then come together and be strong and raise a family, and how wonderful all of that was. And all at the same time, looking good doing it. Looking good doing it. I did a video on it not too long ago, but so how does all of that relate to Snoop here and the Olympics? Well, when I'm going to do a more lengthy video. It's coming out soon. I spent a little time on it, but when I just remember this brother, you know, gangster rap, the G's, gangster, G, whatever, you know, that's what I remember the introduction was. I think even back then, during that time, because I think he's from the western part of the United States, California, that area, and that era during that time, the the music dealt a lot with that and kind of promoting that and glamorizing that. I think that was the era too when they released the F the Police stuff. You remember all of that? Okay. Well, the reason I'm bringing all that up is it's very strange to me that you could come from that background, that anti society, anti system, uh, to being adored and loved by the mainstream. The mainstream media, so much so that they would put you in front of the entire world as one of the faces of the entire world in support and in promotion of the America, the United States. Now, you remember Muhammad Ali? Do you guys remember that? Muhammad Ali, they did the same thing to an extent. He had the torch. He didn't run, but he had the torch and he lit the fire and all that. Do you remember all that? Well, there's some significance there because Muhammad Ali was at one point against this kind of establishment that did very bad things to people that look like you and me. And so what becomes alarming to me is they turned him in the same way at the end of his life to where now he's lighting the flag for the United States. These same people that he was fighting against, as if we've all come together, as if we've all come together and now all of that's no longer in existence. You know, the discrimination, the racism, the violence against black people, the mistreatment against black people, the oppression, the overall oppression of even non-blacks. So here you have the similar example, Snoop coming from, remember NWA, which I'm not a fan of the title NWA. I don't think in any way that that's healthy for the psyche and self-esteem of black people. And I wish that I could tell you something different because I'm a music fan. I'm a music lover. I support, you know, music because of its impact on the minds of our children and the minds of people all over the world. It's a very powerful tool. But again, a tool nonetheless, one that has been used now clearly by those in charge of that industry to use Snoop, Snoop Dogg, Doggy, whatever, to bring him from that point, a major influence with our children, imagery, lyrics. And you can all say, well, when the kids are young, which he was a young man at the time, when they're young, they're kind of rebellious and they're saying things. That's all true to a certain extent. But no, but there were other people who still wanted to do and sing and say wonderful things, but those people weren't promoted because there was a conscious decision to change from the previous generations of singers and entertainers to one with that gangster, that thug, that thing. So you'll see in the other video, I go into more detail about specifically Snoop, only because they are posting him up as if like he's a role model for all to see. Positive role model for America, which makes sense if you look at how they've used us and people like us to promote that image for them of being, look how wonderful we are. See, we got a black man running down the street carrying the torch, a black man, all while at the same time, they just killed this sister during the Olympics. Now, I'm just curious, has Snoop spoke out about that? What about Beyonce? Because take a look at Beyonce. They just got a video. Now you see long blonde hair, white people hair. Now maybe y'all say that's her hair. Okay. Okay, no problem. But nevertheless, the imagery, male and female. So for all of you who say I'm anti women, no, no, no. I'm much more disturbed by the image of this brother dressed in all star spangled garb, like he's wearing a flag, 100% running behind these people. But this is what they do. This is how they turn, you know, Nelson Mandela, this Barack Obama winning a Nobel Peace Prize, saying to the world, listen, when these people come and they get those people that look like me and you and they place them up as the face of America, then you can believe that those people have done some very bad things to black people. And that's the only reason that they promote those people. So, for all of you Snoop lovers, I'm sorry to uh, be a fly in the ointment. I'm sorry to uh, be the bearer of bad news. But I need you to look at and take a close look at the history of not only him, but the history of the images of entertainment placed in front of us. Take a look at that. It's a very powerful tool and it's being used, word now, weaponized against us, used against us to do very bad things and cause very, very great damage to our people. And some of these people who are the face of that back then, when I grew up, the 80s, the 90s, pushing our boys and our girls, because they have videos where the girls are carrying drugs in the videos for the men. There's one video that stands out specifically in my mind. There was a guy coming down an elevator. Police were chasing him. This is in the video. Police are chasing him. And he gets in the elevator, and his girl is in the elevator. He's got a briefcase full of drugs. I believe it's drugs. And so he gets in the elevator. He gets off on the floor. He gives her the briefcase before exiting the elevator. She continues down with the drugs. And he gets off. Police grab him, and now they're disappointed. They got to let him go because they don't have the drugs. He doesn't have any drugs. And this is what was promoted. That, oh, my girl, she ride and die with me. She, all of that. Damaging our women, damaging our children. And the part that gets me the most, because I grew up with it, I have family and friends and relatives. The family, friends, and relatives who were victims of this, but smoking and selling, watched entire neighborhoods of people destroyed. And yet, we have a large number of people that think that those people who were selling those records and promoting those values to our children are role models to stand up and run and carry the flag. Absolutely, they would put them in that position because they're proud of him. The W's. They love him for that. So they made him what? Mainstream. They even released a movie, NWA. When I lived there, all of the good W's around me, they were much younger than me. Probably, I don't know, they might have been in their early 30s, mid 30s. And they were talking about how great the movie was. They couldn't wait. They were going to see it. All these W's. And all I kept thinking about, they're going to see a movie, NWA, whatever. And for me, this is just me personally. I told you when a little baby is born, beautiful little black child, at what point do they become an N word? Is it at birth? Or is it while they're in the mother's stomach? The little fetus N? Is that what it is? Or when they come out, they become an N. Oh, and I think what's been said, well, no, we mean it in it's a good way because we, black people, we take a negative and we turn it into a positive. Okay. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't really understand, who maybe you follow that line of logic and reasoning, and that's fine because we all are searching to figure it out. So, no problem. Let me just make a suggestion to you or give you a comment to kind of get you to, maybe you'll understand, maybe you'll have a different perspective. Each generation of children, when they come, they learn to be human from watching other humans. And just like advancements in civilization, you can have regressions in civilization from watching other humans. So, what you really have, let's say you're a person and you believe in putting a dot here on your side of your head and a dot here on the side of your head. And so you do that. Now, not everybody does it, but you like it, so you do it. Now your child grows up and they see a dot here and a dot there that you put there. And then obviously because you have one there, you hang out with people, they got dots that they put here. Okay? Well, the children, they watch it. And then there are most, they like it. It becomes normal to them. They're around you, your friends, they come around. And so then when they get old enough, they're going to ask, well, can I get a dot? I want a dot. A dot here and a dot here. Okay, and it's not harmful. Nothing wrong with it. You like it, no problem. You have the right to do it. So you tell your child, well, you got to wait till you get a certain age. Or some of you give it to them in the beginning. So they get the dots. All right? Now, remember, you had two dots. But the children, do you remember the advancements in society, advancements in civilization, or regression? Whether when that another generation comes up, they'll go further with it. Instead of getting two dots, they're going to get a dot here, and they want to make it look special because they want to make it different. They want to have their own uniqueness. So now they get a dot here, and a dot here, and a dot here, and a dot here. And then before you know it, after several years and several generations, now it's something that has developed and taken on a life of itself. And now you get something similar to like what Mike Tyson did, you see? Whole face. Now, all the people who admire Mike Tyson, who think it's cool, and they may want to follow Mike Tyson. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, you feel free to do it. What I'm pointing out to you is that these decisions that we make as parents and we keep doing and putting these images in front of our children are going to go further with it. Yeah. Just like the church. So many of you may have had a similar experience that I had. I go to church, and I'm in church, and the choir director. Now, right now, I know many of you already know what I'm about to say. The older ones, particularly. I'm in church, and the choir director standing up there, he'd sing, and I was in the choir. My mother snatched me out of the choir, though. But the choir director, he was peculiar. We all knew he was peculiar. The little kids who were singing in the choir, we knew he was peculiar. Something strange about him. He wasn't like my father. He wasn't like any of my brothers or my friends. He wasn't like that. He was peculiar. And then as you get older, you realize, oh, now he was peculiar, but why did they pick him to be the choir director? Were there any other people who could be choir director that weren't peculiar? But but then you go to another church and you see it. Hmm. Hmm. Then generations, you look around in the church, you have several boys peculiar. Peculiar. Because they see and they learn from their environment. And no, no, no. This peculiarity, that wasn't natural. Mm-mm, that wasn't natural. So I'm just saying to you, you have here this good brother dressed up in the flag. Okay. Then you got our good sister here, Beyonce, with blonde hair down to her waist, you know. Which is saying to the people, you got the brother, and remember, they're following the same strategy. Dark skinned black man, light skinned woman, or dark skinned black man, white woman. They follow the same strategy, and then that image is portrayed to the world that we as a people are on board with that. And that's why when you go to the continent and it's full of deep, dark, beautiful black people, you see them, as I told you with the example of the dot, you see them now trying to change themselves into things that they aren't, lightening their skin. That's how it's developed and promoted. Frying their hair off. That's how it's developed and promoted. Believing that a group of people following this Star Spangled Banner is for them, and then they end up taking their resources because they believe that these people are good and wholesome and coming out of love. This is what is happening, and so we're gonna have to do a video specifically about that era because it's not only just music; it was also done with the television. It was also done with the movies. So you have the sitcoms that came, and then you have the movies that came. It was done the same way. So again, just wanted to let you guys know. I did see. I'm aware that good Snoop and Beyonce are ambassadors during the Olympics on your behalf and my behalf. But if you take a closer examination, you see that might not be a good thing for me and you. Okay, all right. You guys take care. I love you. Uhuru, uhuru, uhuru.